There it is. We get our 20 intervals. Here's a trick question, kind of. As a researcher, how many of those, generally speaking, are you going to get? As a single researcher working at, say, a university or at a research institution, how many of those intervals would you get on any given study, do you think? It's kind of a trick question, almost. Would you necessarily get 20 of them? Probably not. Unless you ran it 20 times. Would you get 19 of them? Would you get 18 of them? Probably you're going to get, well, you guys got 20 because I made you calculate it 20 times.
Oh, 20.
But I want you to think about, it's very easy to press the F9 button on this Excel spreadsheet. Be like, oh, look, 20 new babies. I want you to think about the cost and effort it would go into getting this right here. You just had to find 20 newborn babies, weigh them, get the consent to weigh them all, right, from the parents and the hospital, weigh them with an accurate machine, and then crunch the data. How much time and effort would that take to get the weights of 20 newborns? Give me an estimate. Give me an estimate. Time and effort, legalities, loopholes, things like that.
6 months.
Good. Okay, that's worse than I was going to say, but let's go with 6 months. So, in other words, this represents, what, 10 years of work to get 20 of them? So you're probably going to get one of these studies, aren't you? You're most likely going to get one. And then if you work for a research university, it's publish or perish, which means you better go do some other study that isn't the same as the one you just did. They don't, the publication doesn't publish very well. So you're going to get one study. Realize that. So when you press the F9 and you get 20 babies, just realize how much work that actually is in the real world to actually get that real data. I'm dealing with it right now. As I'm collecting data for us for next week, I'm standing out there outside of Boyle Education, sort of like clipboard, peering into cars as they go by. Did you see me doing it the other day? Yeah, peering. I got you, didn't I?
I know.
Not distracted. Not distracted. So I got this clipboard, and I've got all these categories of what drivers are doing as they go by. And I've got about 600 or 700 observations now over the course of Monday and Tuesday of this week. And I've got categories from not distracted, which means I can see both their hands. They're either on the wheel or their foot. Now, they might be distracted because they're daydreaming, but I can't measure that. I've got categories that says tinted windows, too dark to see inside the car, i.e. too dark to have a cease and desist order planted against me, or they went by too fast. I've got phone in hand while driving. So driving on the road like this, I've got a number of those checked off. I've got phone call while driving. I've collected that data. I collect that independently of phone in hand. So if the phone is at the ear, I'm assuming they're making a phone call. I've got eating with one hand while driving. I've got eating with both hands while driving. This was impressive. One, driving down the road, drink, food. I'm like, where the hell? Oh, he's driving with his knees. That's fantastic. I've got head not visible for at least 2 seconds. This one scared the crap out of me. Car going down the road, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's nobody behind the wheel of that car. I see a hand. And then all of a sudden this girl pops up and she's like, ah, and I'm guessing she dropped something and went after it without pulling over off to the side of the road, went diving down into the passenger side floor area to pick it. So this was 4 hours of data collection for me to get 600 data points. That took some time. It took some time. I had to explain to my son what I was doing. Why aren't we going swimming? Well, I gotta go count cars. What? It takes time, right? I give you guys an unfortunate artificial look at how easy it is to get data when you press F9 and things pop up, right? But that's the idea, is you generally get one of these studies. Maybe if you're lucky, you get a bunch because you collaborate with other research institutions. But so you get one of them, generally speaking. But we were able to get a whole bunch. Hopefully you got a whole bunch of intervals. So let me hear some numbers. Let me hear some numbers about what percent of your intervals actually tracked the parameter of 7.67. Remember, of course, the only reason we know the average is 7.67 is because that's what's reported in every hospital I've ever checked. Probably because they've measured so many babies that the margin of error has shrunk it down to essentially 0. So it's still a statistic, but it's just a really, really precise statistic. So did anybody get 80% or below for a confidence? Max, you did at one point. We're not going to count that. That wasn't your 20. Did anybody get 80% or below? Anybody get 85% confidence? In other words, 17 of of 20? 90% confidence. So that's, okay, good, let me start. So we got confidence. So we got 90%. How many of you got 90? Let me see hands again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I gave you all kinds of crap about that, didn't I? I did. 5 people got 2. Very nice. How about 95% confidence? Who got 95% confidence? Let me see those hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How about 100% confidence, which I'm guessing is the rest of you, yes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is the modal confidence? Ignore the numbers on the quiz. That's what I got when I read them independently, and I did the math wrong. What's the modal confidence that the class achieved? Which means, which confidence did we see the most? 95%. What is the median confidence we see on this? It's 95%. And I don't expect you to calculate this at all. I don't expect you, I just want you to look. There's 6 90s and there's 7 100s. That means there's 1 extra 100 than 90, but since there's 8 in the middle is in here somewhere. It's one of these 95s. If you want to do it, if you want to calculate it, that's totally fine too. It's 1421. You'd have to go to the 11th spot, but the 11th one is in here. So the median's 95, the mode's 95. What's the average? You don't have to give me an exact number. Let me ask you a simpler question. Suppose one person less got 100 and it was that. What would your average be? Exactly 95, wouldn't it? Because it's perfectly balanced, 686. That's a perfect symmetric 686. We actually got this. So what's your average confidence? A little, 95.1, a little better than 95% because you got 1 extra 100, which is going to pull it a little bit over to that side. So the mode was 95, the median was 95, and the average is 95 plus. How do you feel about that? Well, I feel dynamite. Thanks for asking. I feel dynamite. Why? Go back to the second question I asked you today. The first question on the warm-up was, what is any confidence interval composed of? And you told me statistics plus margin of error. It's written over there on the sideboard. The next question was, what does 95% confidence mean? And you told me what it meant, didn't you? You told me what 95% confidence means? I know it was an hour and a half ago. 90, thank you, Emily. 95% of the time we expect to get the parameter within our interval. Did we? Hell yeah, we did. On average. But here's the problem, of course. What if you're the researcher? That's the oddball. That's the 5%. Did you notice you had to type in 5% in the confidence command? That's how Excel does it. It says how, for whatever reason, Excel wants you to put in how often you're wrong, not how often you're right. How negative. Good lot of my life. But the thing about it is what if you're that person? Well, the thing is you don't know if you're that person or that researcher. All you know is you got an interval. So how many of you were messing around with the other sheet here, the randomized results sheet? How many of you were messing around with this at all? Yeah, this looks similar to the one we did with the warm-up yesterday. This is a quick visual illustration of 20 confidence intervals formed at random, just like you just did. So when you press F9, right there, that green line represents the 7.67. And you can count how many, that's 20 confidence intervals. How many missed it? Just that one. That's 95% confidence. Press it again. How many missed at that time? None. That's 100% confidence. How many missed at that time? That's 95% confidence. That's 95% confidence. Holy crap. Oh, ah. Ooh. Ew. Why make all these noises? This is 80% confidence, yes? 1, 2, actually 75. No, it's 80. This is as bad as the one you saw over there with Max. This is like yours. I guess it isn't. The one on top missed too. Yeah, this one missed. This one missed. These two missed. Oh. I made a big deal a few moments ago. I was looking over Max's shoulder. He got this. Miss, 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 miss. I can't tell what those are, kind of close, but they look pretty close to missing too. That might be 70% confidence. Holy crap, we missed 6 times. But why is that not a big deal?
Average 95%.
Say that again, Cody.
On average, it's 95%.
On average, it's 95%. On average, it's 95%. Yeah, you're going to get the anomalies like this. But as long as you replicate studies, the average will come to light. The problem is, when you do one study, you don't know which one. You could be, Taylor, this could be me in your study right here. We might be completely off base. The only way of knowing if you're more correctly on base is by seeing it replicated and seeing where yours fall in light of that. Is that fair enough? Hopefully. Good. So that was the whole point of that quiz, was to just reiterate again what 95% confidence is. This last tab indicates why you have to have a margin of error. If you ignore the margin of error, everything misses. See, this is statistic without margin of error. How many of those little red rectangles hit the green line? If you're generous, you can say that one did. I say it missed. Oh, we got another one? Yeah, we're generous. Maybe 2. 2 and 20. So that's 10% confidence. There's 0% confidence. There's, I'll be generous. I'll say that's 10% confidence. So you see the problem? Without the margins of error, you're missing almost perfectly every time. You need to have the margins to sweep to give you that confidence. Is that fair? Is that believable? Hopefully you're buying that. Okay. Let's do some wrap up. That was all this quiz was. It was really just to get you to some technology, to reiterate the warm-up, to have you hear that again about what the definition of confidence is. So what I want to do with the rest of the time we have, which is not much, is just look at some quick questions. There's the answer in case you want to see what it is, since you have the answers in front of you. Go ahead and read that. What's the 95% confidence interval? Is it A, 3 pounds plus or minus half a pound? Is it B, 2.5 pounds and 3.5 pounds, or is it both A and B?
Both A and B.
Definitely both A and B. How can I have 2 right answers? Because math.